Michael Jackson, the king of pop, who's 50 years old.
The voice of grunge music takes his own life.
Why is it sad? He's away from all of this bad stuff that's here on Earth.
Found God.
Because cops give a damn about a need.
Who's next? Didn't everybody say that he shot himself with a shotgun?
Yeah.
Some people said that. Some other people said it was Courtney Love.
Some people said it was Courtney Love, right? But I mean, back to the shotgun thing and being, like literally so hopped up on heroin that how could you even manage to pull the trigger?
Okay.
Right? A lot of people say that. I mean, yeah, they say he had high tolerance, but at the same time, they also say that if you're that high on heroin, you would probably die of a heart attack or just completely pass out before even managing to pick up a shotgun and put it in your mouth and somehow pull the trigger on a gun that's even longer than your own arms.
Right.
I think that's why there's so many conspiracies behind Kurt Cobain, right? I mean, there's just so much evidence that proves that something happened, that it's possible he faked his own death or he was murdered by Courtney Love. It's come out now that him and Courtney did have a lot of problems when they were together, and Kurt actually wanted to get a divorce, right?
Right. You were reading a book about that a while ago, right?
I was reading a book about that, and then I got kind of pissed off because I did some research on the book and found out that the book is heavily influenced by Courtney Love, so it's like it's not neutral. But when you look at the
check your sources.
Exactly. When you look at the private investigator who looked into Kurt Cobain's death, he finds a lot of evidence himself that suggests there was foul play or that something else went down, right? And now the other thing that we're talking about is him faking his own death.
Didn't die at all.
So if you look into the suicide of Kurt Cobain yourself, you'll find plenty of released photos of the actual crime scene itself, but never one that shows his face.
Because it might not be there.
I mean, I understand that, and maybe not all of the photos have been released yet, but...
I mean, because he didn't kill himself, because he's still alive.
Because he's still alive, right? Or it was just simply too gruesome to show.
Yes.
Maybe, for the general public. But a lot of people seem to believe that, you know, because there's no picture of his face the night that he died, or the day he was found when the autopsy was done, that they're like, nope, never happened, he's still alive.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a well-known fact that Kurt was burnt out and wanted to fade away. Fade away from the limelight, that is. I mean, we all know that Kurt had a difficult time dealing with fame, and at the end of the day, close towards the end of his life, he wanted to be a normal person. But also suggesting that he didn't want to ever commit suicide at the same time, right? Which also suggests that, I mean, he was a generally happy guy. He had his new daughter, which was like, you know, that one special thing in his life, and he really cared about her, and why would he want to leave her behind? It didn't make any sense to me.
Right. What's her name again?
Frances.
Frances Cobain.
Frances Love. Frances Love? No. Frances Bean Cobain.
That's what it is,
yeah. Alright, here's another funny theory. I think you're gonna like this one. Did you read it already? Alright, so the theory is... This one's ridiculous, guys. So the theory is that Kurt Cobain is actually the lead singer of Weezer, Rivers Cuomo. I think it's insane, but hear me out. So a lot of people have suggested that if you look at the pictures of them from the side angle, right? They say that his ears and like his nose kind of look similar. Right?
You're reaching here.
But the funniest part about Kurt Cobain and Rivers is that their chins are completely different. So if you look at a picture of Kurt Cobain, you'll notice that he's got like a butt chin, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Rivers doesn't. He's got like a normal chin, like a pretty, like, it's out there.
Beautiful chin.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful chin. Yeah. That man. He's got a wonderful, wonderful chin.
How do you go from singing Rape Me to Do You Want to Destroy My Sweater?
Right?
It is. It's a pretty big difference.
I don't know. So what about the covers? So in the early day of Weezer, they were known as Goat Punishment, was the name of their first band. They would do a lot of covers. So they performed a cover of Breed, was the one that kind of closely resembles to what Nirvana did. And a lot of people noticed that Rivers Cuomo's voice and guitar playing were oddly similar to that of Kurt Cobain's.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Now, to me, the voice didn't sound exactly the same. I listened to a lot of Nirvana in my entire life. I grew up on that shit.
Yep.
And Rivers does not sound like Kurt Cobain.
No, I don't think so.
Now, on the guitar playing itself, any relatively experienced guitar player, if you can't play a frickin' Nirvana song, you should probably throw the guitar in the garbage. And here's another point to... this one's kind of weird. So people started to notice that if you look at records in the past, Nirvana and Weezer both kind of were around at the same time in the 90s, right?
Okay. Yeah.
When they were both relatively big, they never actually played shows at the exact same time. There was never a date, except for one, that they played on the same night. There was only one date ever recorded, but I mean, people suggest that that could have been a mistake, or somebody, some troll kind of put it up on the internet so other people would notice, right? And be like, oh shit, there you go, there's your proof right there, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just kind of found it a little odd, and it almost kind of seemed maybe even plausible that he was actually Rivers. Nirvana would do one tour in, let's say, Europe, and then all of a sudden Weezer would do a tour, and then Nirvana would do a tour after that. And then Weezer would do another tour. But they never actually had a tour at the exact same time, and they never played together. Right?
Do you feel like a lot of Nirvana's music is kind of on the depressing side? Not that doesn't. So then you listen to Weezer, which is a pretty like happy, chill. Yeah. So maybe he just needed some balance.
There's a possibility of
he's
that.
doing the. I don't know the name, but Tom Cruise, he's doing the Mission Impossible, take off his skin, and he plays another show, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Solved it.
Right?
That's it.
You solved it. So he is Rivers Cuomo. He is, in fact, Rivers Cuomo.
I was laughing before,
Kurt
but now I
Cobain
know
is alive.
true.
Right? I mean, the one thing that kind of tells me that that might not be possible is the simple fact that Kurt wanted to get away from everything. So to all of a sudden jump on board with another large band who does very big shows, who's once again in the limelight again, why would he do that? Why would he put himself in that situation? So to me, it kind of suggests that it's probably very unlikely that Kurt Cobain is actually the lead singer of Weezer.
Who's next?
In 1962, the world was shocked by the death of Marilyn Monroe. So do you know who Marilyn Monroe is?
Is she the girl who sucked Bill Clinton's in the White House?
No, it was JFK's death.